welcome back to another video. Today we've got another recycling center rescue. It's this IBM PC XT 5150. So in today's video, we'll be taking a look at this IBM 5150. This was the PC XT, or the original, the OG personal computer. The personal computer for PCs that we still call PCs today. So this machine defined a lot of the standards that are still around. Code that can be executed on this machine can still be executed on the most recent 14th gen Intel chips, the most recent Ryzen chips. The legacy of this machine is not to be underestimated. However, this particular machine apparently was underestimated, as it was sent to be recycled and turned into a Honda or something of that nature. Now what's crazy is this machine is in like pristine condition. I can see a couple of like rubber ring residues from where the monitor was sitting on it. Just a hint of dust, but this thing is immaculate, at least on the outside. So I'm really excited to have this one. This is a pretty cool find and a pretty cool save. But before we power it up to see if it works, we do want to crack it open and take a look and see if anything is glaringly obviously broken, and see if anything is glaringly obvious that would cause issues when we apply power to the system. So I hope you're as excited as me, but let's crack into this thing and see what we can find inside. All right, so we've got our 5150 here on the bench. I'll turn it around. Now these machines were big and hefty because the technology was still just, I guess, in its infancy. But this thing is a beast. So on the top, like I said, there's a couple of rubber marks where there was a monitor sitting on it. Maybe a little scratch here, I can't really tell, but overall it's in great shape. We've got our dual full height 5 1/4 inch floppy drives. We'll have to test these out to see if they work, but the latches definitely work. Nothing remarkable on either side. We'll take a look at the bottom here. We do have our power switch on this side, so I guess it is remarkable. On this side, we've got the giant IBM power switch. We have the original cork feet. I hope that's still in view here. At least these two probably are. Yeah, so these were the original cork feet. It looks like this one shifted about 2 millimeters. This one shifted about 2 millimeters. A little bit of scuffing on the bottom. But again, this thing is pristine. These cork feet usually get worn. They fall off, but this thing is just immaculate condition. I'll spin it around and take a look at the back. On the back, there's a little bit of dust on the power input here. We've got our vents, keyboard, and cassette ports. I don't know what this is. Is this factory? I'm not sure. Now we've got probably a parallel card. This might be parallel. This is CGA. This would be composite. I think serial, probably parallel, and I don't know what this card is. This is probably external floppy, if I had to guess. But yeah, let's just take these screws off. I see it is missing one here, which is surprising given the shape of the rest of the system. I'm really excited to see what we have going on inside. It's probably not going to be super impressive, but I do see that this port is missing the screw hole plug-in. Standoff? I don't know what you call those. So we'll take off these 4, which should be 5 screws. You can see we've got the IBM 5150 badge here on the back. All right, and with those screws off, we should be able to slide the entire top portion forward and remove it. Looks like we're hung up on this side maybe. So I do want to be especially careful with this case given how nice of shape it's in. All right, well here is the inside of our machine. All right, so we have our 2 floppy drives here, the full height drives. They are different, which is kind of surprising. So I wonder if one of these was replaced at some point. We have the cable connecting them to the floppy controller card, which does have the port in the back. So yeah, I presume that larger port would be for an external floppy drive. We have our power supply, 110 volts, which is good. The second card in here, the CGA card, it says color graphics on it. There is a free slot here in the middle with the slot cover has been removed. And then the card on the end, which is actually bowed outward. Looks like it maybe didn't quite fit in here or something was going on, but yeah. It looks like it has a RAM expansion, real-time clock, and it is doing the extra port here, which I presume is parallel. I think that's what that would be. So it's really nice to see that it's a CR 2025 and not a battery that would leak. It's cool that we have extra RAM. So that was certainly an upgrade. But yeah, let's set this guy down. So I'm just going to take a quick look here. And yeah, I don't know if you can see on camera, but there is hardly a speck of dust inside this machine. Everything looks like it's factory brand new. I don't know that I've ever seen a machine this clean. It's quite crazy. Even the power supply fan is a little dusty, but hardly any dust, especially given the age of this machine. So, a little worried about this bowed card, but I presume it's probably been like that for a long time, so nothing too crazy there. All right, well, very typically in these machines, they use these tantalum capacitors, and tantalum capacitors at this age probably have all begun to fail, if not have all failed. And as soon as we apply power, they'll probably go pop, and the power supply does have protection, so it should just turn off. These capacitors are typically used for the 12-volt rail, which is going to power the floppy drives, and I don't think anything else in this machine. So it might work without the 12-volt, but they will fail short, and it will turn the power supply off. So let's go ahead and plug it in and hit the switch and see if anything explodes. So I got it in the off position. I'll plug that in, and here we go. Okay, nothing is happening. So that time I got a little further. It actually spun up for a few seconds. So with these power supplies, they send out a power good signal once everything is up to voltage. And I presume they turn off if things aren't good. Although now it's just staying on. I don't hear any beeps. I know the speaker's connected. No activity in the drive lights or anything. But it is sending power to the board. So the power supply obviously seems to be good. I guess we could check those voltages to see if they are okay. Now these power supplies won't start up unless there's load on them because they're old and that's how old power supplies worked. So we can't just disconnect it and test for voltages. We need to do that while it's running. Oh. Okay, well now it beeped and spun off the disk drives. Okay. So we're gonna need a monitor. You know I have just a monitor upstairs. Let's run upstairs and grab it. Although, since I have the multimeter out, let's just check these voltages, see what we got. Why not? So that's orange, so that's +5. Nothing on yellow. Nothing on blue. +5 on red. There's our -5. -5 was white. So we're getting +5 on orange, +5 on red, -5 on white. And either I'm not making a good connection on yellow, I can't see it, or it's not working. We should have 12 volts somewhere. Ah, there it is, 12 volts on yellow. So I think blue must be the power good signal. Oh no, -12 volts. Alright, so we've got all the correct voltages, and they all look pretty good, so this power supply is working like it's supposed to. So what we do need is a monitor to see what it says. Fortunately, out here in my garage, I have just the thing. So let's get this guy unlocked. Here we go, an IBM 5153 color monitor. So this monitor also came from the same pickup at the recycling center, so I haven't tried it out yet either. But at least it had its box, so that's pretty cool. And it's also in quite good shape. I guess it's a little dirty, and there's a little like bend in the plastic up here, but otherwise it looks pretty good. So let's just plug it in and see if it explodes. Plug it in. Alright, let's turn it on and see if anything happens. I hear the degauss. Ah, look at that. So everything seems to work okay with no modifications. So I'm not sure if it's just that the capacitors needed to be reformed by running it for a little bit, but this is working. So now what are we going to do for a keyboard? Unfortunately, this machine did not come with a keyboard or a mouse. Not that these machines typically had a mouse with them, but I do have this Merit K100 mouse. It's a little bit newer than this machine. It's all plastic, so this is probably not period correct, but I had it lying around. Not sure we're even going to need that. And then I do have an IBM Model M. And I think these machines came with the Model F keyboard, not the Model M. And my Model M happens to be PS2. This won't work on an XT machine, will it? I think I have a keyboard somewhere that does XT, but I don't think this Model M does it. So I went to look for a different keyboard. I actually did try the IBM Model M. So this is actually a PS2 one with the AT adapter. And of course AT doesn't work with XT. They're different. Some of the earlier Model M's worked with AT or XT automatically. Some other keyboards have switches to work with XT. There's a little switch you can change to change if it's XT or AT. Anyway, the Model M didn't work, so I went to look for a replacement. And in the meantime, I caught a bit of a cold, so my voice has changed. It's now a couple days later. But I did actually find in my collection here, I have an XT keyboard. So this is the PC terminal from Santa Clara Systems. It's really a bare bones kind of keyboard. You know, it's got these feet that come up that are just, wires. It's got this metal plate on the back. This is really just like super cheaply made keyboard. I think it's foam and foil. So not great, but hey, it's an XT keyboard, so let's plug it in. So now, to refresh my memory, since it's been a few days, when I first turned this on, the fan spun a little bit, nothing really happened. What I did is I then disconnected the power supply from the motherboard, and I think at that point my camera ran out of battery, so I didn't show it. But I disconnected the power supply from the motherboard, turned it on. It did the exact same thing. I figured there might have been a tantalum cap on the motherboard that was shorted. The power supply detects the short and then won't power on. Turns out that wasn't the case. Then I disconnected it from both of the floppy drives, thinking maybe one of the floppy drives was having a problem, which is unlikely, but possible. Turned it on. These power supplies don't start when there's no load. so it wouldn't have run anyway, but it still didn't run. So then I was going to reshoot everything, so I hooked everything back up and went to turn it on, and it turned on and booted right up. So that was a little confusing. I don't know why it would have done that. Perhaps there was some oxidation on one of the contacts where it wasn't making a good connection. Perhaps some of the capacitors in the power supply just needed to be reformed. I am not sure. Troubleshooting problems that go away is very difficult. So I did actually let it run for a few hours because I was out looking for this XT keyboard, and then I started feeling sick and I lay down, and then I came back hours later and it was still running. But now that was on Sunday, and now today is Thursday night, so it's been 4 days. I haven't touched it. I haven't tried to turn it on. So now I am curious to see what happens when I flip the switch. So let's do that together and see if it's actually going to continue to work or if the problem has returned. We'll turn our monitor back on. And let's hit the switch. Yeah, and it spins right up. So whatever that no power issue was, just simply disconnecting everything and reconnecting it, fixed it. And the connections were tight. They weren't like, half on or loose or anything. So I don't think that would have been the issue. But perhaps oxidation on some of the contacts might have been the problem. Or again, it could have been capacitors just needing some power to get reformed. Though typically when you're reforming a capacitor, you'll increase the voltage slowly instead of giving it full voltage all at once. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. The thing works, and I don't know why it works when it wasn't working. So it gets stuck at this screen for a long time because it has this additional RAM card in here. So it's got the full complement of original RAM plus the RAM card, so it's got to count all that up. So it does take a little bit to boot, and we get the beep. It spins the floppy drive looking for a boot floppy. It doesn't find one, and then it boots off into the basic ROM, which is included. So this is just standard IBM Basic. So we can just write a quick little program here to prove out that this XT keyboard works. And with this metal shield on the back, or not shield, but just like base plate, I'm a little leery of setting it on things because I don't want to short anything out. But let's turn caps lock on. The light works, that's a good sign. So we say 10, print, hello, 20, go to 10. And then we can hit F2 to run. Oh, probably not on that line. So let's replace that line, 20, go to 10. Now we'll hit F2. And there we go. So we should be able to break out of that. Control break. There we go. Alright, so I have a couple of discs here. I believe this one is a DOS 3 boot disk, which I think should work on here. And this is a game called Space War. So let's put those in, and let's do the old 3 fingers salute. Let's see if these drives are working. Well, it's definitely attempting to read the boot drive. Well, given the absolute cleanliness of this machine, I'd be surprised if these drives didn't work. So we have our A drive. And let's see if our B drive is working. Yeah, this keyboard is definitely foam and foil. Could use some new foam and foil pads in there, but it's alright. So we've got PDQ, SWAT, SWC, SWH. SWC, I presume, is Space War CGA. Let's see if that runs on here. It sure seems to. Okay, let's, yes, I remember this game. This is a 2-player It's like Asteroids, except it's two-player. There's no asteroids. You're just trying to shoot each other. I don't remember the keys. That's hyperspace. Let's go forward. Laser. That's invisibility. My D keys is not working great. Alright, let's go. Ah, nuts. Anyway, the built-in speaker's working. Both floppy drives are working. The XT keyboard that I stumbled across is working. 5153 monitor's working. So I'd hope to make a repair video, I guess, out of this, but I don't think there's anything to repair. This is an amazing recycling center find, so I guess we'll just be making this video to showcase how awesome getting a completely working, very pristine looking machine is, since there's really no work we need to do to it. Alright, well, let's turn it off. Let's reassemble it. I don't even need to dust it or anything, just this couple of monitor footprints, and that's it. It's amazing. Alright, let's, now that we have it screwed back together, let's clean up that little bit of rubber from the top of the case here. Alright, so you can see the two little spots here. Just going to hit it with a little bit of Windex, some paper towel. Looks like it's actually into the paint, so it's kind of compressed the paint a little bit, but I think it came off pretty easily. There's one over here too we'll get. All right, well, there we go. We've got the IBM PC XT, the 5150 with the 5153 monitor cleaned up, which didn't take much. We've got it repaired, which again didn't take much. It was kind of nice having a repair like this on a week where I was out for a good chunk of it due to a cold. Down and out, just lying in bed trying to recover and spending my awake time focused on my actual job and not on the hobby here. So it's a good week for me. I didn't have to spend hours trying to troubleshoot traces or replace capacitors. I really don't know why it wasn't working, and I really don't know what I did to fix it. But technically it was a repair because I got it broken, and now as you can see it works. So not the most exciting repair. I guess if you have a 5150 and it doesn't turn on, disconnect everything from the power supply and then reconnect it, and then that'll fix it. It fixed it in my case. Cosmetically, this machine is just almost right out of the factory shape. It's just beautiful. There's a little bit of schmutz on the monitor, but we can clean that up, but what a great find. And it's hard to imagine someone taking this to the recycling center and just saying, turn it into a Ford or whatever they do with these things, because, it's a beautiful machine. It's very clean. I'm guessing it was either, somebody who had it and it didn't work for them either. They hit the switch, nothing was working, and said, well, this thing is so old, I'm not going to mess with it. It's broken. It's probably going to need a ton of repair. Or it belonged to somebody who had passed and family just cleaning out the house and said, oh, look at this old crappy computer, just going to recycle this thing. But it was nice that we have the original box for the 5153. It's too bad there's no box for the PC XT. It's too bad we have to use this keyboard, which is not the best, but it matches colors at least, and it kind of looks right at home in front of it. So it's not the worst. Maybe I'll find a good XT compatible Model M at some point. But yeah, it was nice kind of having an easy week with the repairs. I know it wasn't the most exciting video, but like I said, technically it was a repair. And for me, it's great. Haven't always wanted a 5150. It definitely started my vintage collection or rebuilding my collection during the pandemic with Macs, early Macs, but not too early. And I said, I don't want to get back into the all-in-one 9-inch Macs. It's too old. They don't do anything that's fun. Now I have a stack of them. Then I got into PCs, and, well, I've got lots of stuff now. But having a 5150 is really cool, because this was the granddaddy of them all, the OG PC, the PC XT. This is what started everything. Without this, Who knows what would have been running today's modern machines? Maybe it would have been an Apple II descendant. Maybe it would have been an Amiga or a Commodore. But IBM came in and used their immense sway with businesses to get these everywhere. They became the standard. They got reverse engineered. Other companies made cheaper clones, Compaq. Microsoft made an operating system for it after a deal fell through with IBM. Grandfather, OG, and I'm really happy to have one in my collection, and I'm really happy that it works, and I'm really happy that the repair was super simple when I was out sick for half a week. Anyway, this machine's great. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed my ramble at the end here, but I'm losing my voice due to the cold, so I'm going to call it short here. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next video. And I won't be sick, and we'll hopefully have a much more fun repair to do.
Hi guys! Make sure to like and subscribe, and watch more of our videos later. Bye!